Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for this regional edition of Inside the Zone. Justin Kinney, as always, of the News Sentinel, here to drop knowledge on us.
We'll try.
As we get ready for what is week 13, technically,
yes,
of the high school football season. Let's start off in 6A, where it's kind of a classic matchup of some powerhouse programs. We've got Carmel coming to Spooler Stadium to take on the Snider Panthers. This will undoubtedly be Snider's toughest test thus far of the season.
Yes, it will be, by a little significant margin. And I think, when we looked back in the beginning of the season, we felt Snider was in a good spot to go undefeated in the SAC. It was SAC-centric in the sectional, of course, with Northrop and Carroll and Homestead. So in my mind, in a lot of people's minds, Snider really wasn't going to start their season until this regional, because you knew in 6A it's an absolute bear. And now it gets real for the Snider Panthers, in my opinion. And
when you take a look at what Carmel's done, you take a look at their record, they're 7-4, but the losses are to really, really quality football programs. Trinity out of Louisville in week 1, and then Ben Davis, Warren Central, and Center Grove, like a murderer's row for Indiana high school football. Yeah. So obviously they've played against really good competition. What can Snider do to counter what Carmel does, and what's the key for Snider to pull out a victory Friday night?
Well, the margin for error has become very minuscule for Snider. Every other game this season, Snider can make a mistake here and there, bad play, mental error, and be fine. And it can't happen on Friday. They have to be playing their best football. I think they are playing their best football this season right now. I think the question is it enough to beat a team like Carmel? We don't know, because they haven't played anybody the caliber of Carmel, nobody even close. So that's the big question going into Friday night for Snider. Very good team. We're not saying they're not, but it's a little unknown because, back when the SAC was 8 teams, you could schedule an out-of-conference. They played Penn.
Right.
They couldn't do that this year. With 10 teams, 9 conference games, you can't do it. So that's that question. Is Snider ready to compete against Carmel? And nobody can answer that question definitively until Friday night.
One of the things we've kind of harped on with Snider is if they become one-dimensional and have to throw the football, that could be a problem. But it looks like the passing game, I was out there, you were out there early on Friday night. David Knockason from Michael Hopper, that was a pretty lethal combination a couple of times as he sprinted down the sidelines for 6 catches and 160-odd yards and a couple of touchdowns. Having a good passing game, Halpert threw for 206 yards last week. Does that? I would think that would bode well as you head into this game, because that passing game has gotten some more confidence and played well the past week.
Yeah, Knockason was huge. Michael Halpert's been good most of the season, particularly the past month of the year. But I still think Snider's success comes on the ground. The passing game is to complement the running game. If Michael Halpert and that passing game all of a sudden has to take priority and throw 30, 35 times, that does not help Snider's offense. It's obviously a running team that the pass complements it, opens the game up for Christian Covington and those running backs. So that is the big key for me. Snider needs to continue to be able to run the ball effectively against Carmel, both to move the ball, not have them passes more than they want to, and then also play a little keep away from Carmel as well.
Carmel and Snider have had some historic games in the past, but I'm one of those guys that when you take a look at how long these guys are in high school, you're playing varsity 3 if you're a great high school football player, 4 years. They haven't played since 2009. Carmel won that one, and over the last 30 years, Carmel's 5-4 against Snider. But I don't know how you even worry about some of the things that have happened in the past. I don't know how not that it doesn't add to the hype of the game, but I don't know how reflective it is of what we're going to see on Friday night, because these guys, they don't know anything better other than to go out and win football games.
Yeah, absolutely. These teams haven't played any time recently. 6A has been apart from Snider in terms of 5A for a while now, so they're not seeing these indie teams in the playoffs. So this is a new experience for everybody on that Snider roster, and I'm sure those coaches, they can say, they can show tape and talk about previous games and what Carmel does, but none of those kids have faced a team like Carmel, and none of them have faced a team like Penn next week, and particularly Ben Davis if they get to the state championship game, which seems like Ben Davis is so far and above everybody else talent-wise that they're on a whole nother level, maybe a 7A over everybody in 6A. So that is the thing, is Snider ready to play? And I'm sure those coaches are going to get them ready, but it all comes back to, can the Snider talent match up with the Carmel talent? And right or wrong, I don't know what the answer is to that question. They very well may be able to. I think this game is very close on Friday. But the big thing is that it's got to be huge for Snider to really come out early on and make a big play, big touchdown, early touchdown, something like that.
I believe John Harrell's side, which is very infrequently wrong, had Snider winning by 28-27. So that bodes well for the Panthers.
And he is much smarter than I am, so he gets it more right more often than I do.